Hey, you're watching Thunder Thursday. All of our Thunder playoff coverage brought to you by J. Marshall Square, Oklahoma City's only big house apartment community. Guys, we talked about the Western Conference matchups and how really the top four, you might say there's some intrigue at 4-5, but not a lot of guesswork in the Western Conference first round series. Anything in the East surprise you guys? Think there could be any jump ups and surprises on the Eastern Conference?
The two middle ones, 3, 4, 5, 6 seeds. All 4 teams had the same record.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's crazy.
I mean, it is crazy. I've never seen that before. It's like the Thunder leading scorer in San Antonio, 4 guys at 17.
Yeah.
You never see that. So those are intriguing. And frankly, I think the Pacers will play Toronto well. Now, Cleveland, Detroit's going to be a wipeout.
Yeah.
But I think you got 3 good series.
Although
in the East.
Reggie going against Detroit and I feel like he believes they're going to win that series.
Well, maybe.
That'll be kind of
Good
funny.
luck.
Like if he has one big game, if he has one big game in the Palace, like maybe he has 35, like we could see cry number 2 from Reggie post game. So that's kind of interesting. And then as he mentioned, like 2, 3, 4, like 2 through 8 in the East, like to me he's a toss up. I'm really not that high on Toronto. What I was hoping for was the Heat would slide into that 4-5. So if they won that, you'd get Heat Cavs in round 2. And just the demons of LeBron. He's really struggled in Miami since he left, since the trade. That's the story. I wanted that in the second round. Now we can maybe get it in the conference finals, but down the Heat would then have to go through who they playing. Hornets, who you think they'll win?
Heat, Hornets, then they'd have
to beat the Raptors.
Then have to beat Toronto.
Yeah, I just, to me, sort of talking about that warm-up nature of the first-round series for the top 4 teams in the West, I feel like that's a little bit like the Cavs. Like everybody's just saying, all right, play out the string Eastern Conference and get the Cavaliers into the finals, and let's see what happens.
That's the first 3 rounds. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
And for all the great stuff that Toronto did this year, I could just never get jazzed up about them because of that. I mean, the dominance that LeBron James has shown this season and over the past 6 seasons, any team he's been on in the East has been remarkable. And, I mean, you think about it, and you put it in perspective. Toronto was getting really excited when they won 50 games this year. There was like, we won 50 games for the first time in our franchise history, and then the Thunder win 45 and we're disappointed. So it's like the East is kind of like a foregone
conclusion.
conclusion.
Won 54.
Oh, when they won their 50, it was a big celebration.
55 maybe.
54. But no, 55.
55.
Anyway. It's crazy to me because like everyone is pretty much handing Cleveland the East, whereas if you put them in the West right now, they're in like the same exact position as the Thunder, which they're good. You know, they could potentially win it, but who's picking them against the Spurs and who's picking them against the Warriors?
Yeah.
Put the Thunder in the East, and everybody's excited. Hey, let's go to the NBA
Finals.
Finals.
They would roll to the finals.
Yeah,
probably.
It's shocking. What about, guys, I mean, obviously yesterday, huge headline day in the NBA with the Warriors getting to 73. Kobe's last game, he scores 60.
Don't mention it to this guy, though. He wasn't watching. He still doesn't even know what happened.
Got it on DVR.
No, he doesn't. He's DVRing a lot of things before that.
And NBA All-First teams probably coming out at I think the next couple days here.
Yeah, I actually just sent my awards ballot in.
So probably in the next 2, 3, 4 days. I mean, I bring this all up because we heard from Kevin Durant today, and the first thing he brought up in post-practice was, I remember a year ago, everybody was going home, and I was here with a cast on my foot. And it sort of set off some bells in my head, guys, that this guy, I mean, yes, we knew he was back in the playoffs. But do you sort of get the sense like Durant's ready to reassert himself here a little bit in these playoffs, Barry? You think is it sort of a I don't want to say coming out, but that Durant's ready to have a big show here in these playoffs?
Well, I mean, I think he usually is that way. Here's how we'll know if Durant is locked in, and that's if he's locked in on defense, which he sometimes is, sometimes isn't.
And they're good when he is, because he can be a really good defender.
That's the difference in this team. When this team
plays like
wakes up and wants to play defense, gets back in transition, they're very difficult to beat.
To me, I want to see them play. Remember that Warriors game here? The only one the Warriors, like if they could just play like they did in that game, minus the last minute and a half of regulation.
10 seconds.
Which is a very important part of the game.
Which we'll get to in our section for sure. Then I think it's good. But you're right about Durant. I know what you're saying, though, because, look, you talked about all NBA first team. Like
he's probably not.
I didn't put him as a first teamer. I put him as a second teamer because LeBron James, and Kawhi Leonard. Like they had better years. I mean, it's tough.
Durant had a pretty good year.
I know it's tough. I mean, that was like what I wrestled with the most. But I'm just saying, like the fact that like Kawhi Leonard potentially had a better year than Kevin Durant, and like Kevin Durant may know that, or at least he knows that the perception out there right now is that Kawhi Leonard was like maybe number 2 in MVP voting. Where would you have put him? I think I put him number 2.
Well, I wouldn't have put him 2. I'd put LeBron and Curry 1 and 2.
Who would you put Leonard above Durant?
Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, regardless, he knows that's the guy he's going with against in the second round. And he wants to, and that is where I think, like we think they're going to roll over the Mavericks. That is where I think he can earn, his reputation. I don't want to say back, because like, look, he's still I think he was 5th in my MVP ballot. I mean, this guy's a top 5 player in the league, no doubt.
But there's the sense that he has slipped. For so long he was in that top 2, and then Curry obviously gets in there, and so it's a top 3 debate. But now it feels like...
Is it a slip, or is it an elevation of the guys under him?
That's what I think.
Right?
I just think it's like...
You guys wrote about the historic nature of this season he's had. I mean, it's not a season he just put up, so, But, it's a Larry Bird type thing.
I think, too, guys, and Anthony, I think you've written about this. We've all talked about it, the free agency talk, which has been there, but definitely hasn't been the circus that we thought it would be. And so there's sort of this sense maybe he's not as big a deal as he was before that injury. And he's been as probably good as he's ever been.
Up until last night, or up until the last few weeks of the season with Kobe Mania, Golden State swallowed up every storyline we've had anyway.
Yeah.
So
no, that's right.
Yeah, I think it's
even the Spurs, who are historically great, they won 67 games.
Everyone I think every single GM in the league is still just as interested in Kevin Durant as they've ever been, which is like, yes, we'll have him. I mean, he's a top 5 player. So I don't think I just think it's the other storylines. I mean, 73 wins. Spurs, what did they finish with? Like
67.
67. And that was a slip at the end.
Well, that's with not trying in 3 or 4 games.
Yeah. And, Kobe, too. I mean, add him, too, because he really has been a storyline all season. Obviously, last night was like the major. So it's just people going ahead of him. But he knows that, and he doesn't like that. And he can change that in the playoffs because whoever's winning and playing the best becomes the story.
Yeah, definitely so. Hey,